If you guys remember, for the last, I think it's been 4 years, we've been doing a series called Creating Health. And what it's about is really being active. What do I need to do to get myself into health? My body is saying something's up. And so we've been looking at all the different things and the areas to help your body get back into health and help the body also reduce and eliminate the symptoms of MS. We've been looking at the biological factors that can be contributing to an autoimmune disorder, such as nourishment. You know, it's important to get away from the SAD diet, standard American diet, and really bring in foods that nourish the body, not just fill the body. We've, looked at some toxins, doing cleansings. Palmer Kippola really worked on that part, as well as the gut health and healthy microbiome. We had someone come in around sleep. There's a whole book on sleep, but the importance of not reducing that, right? Sometimes we haven't done anything all day, and the end of the day, we're like, and so we want to do more things instead of going, wait, priority, sleep, right? Mm-hmm. We've also looked at a few of these areas, our relationships. We talked about forgiving others, forgiving ourselves, about our relationship to us, our inner critic, really working on if we're beating ourselves up, our immune system is going to mimic that too, right? And beat us up as well. And the area I wanted to cover, and I actually wanted to propose that we maybe even think about 2021 as focusing on the authentic self. Jan, as usual, I told you, I quote you. You started with, I made myself my project. Let's make 2021, let's make us our project. And it's perfect. It's like COVID is telling us, get away from people, right? And so let's make ourselves our project and really bring in our authentic selves. So to begin, what is the authentic self?
I don't know where I just heard this recently, but it was well, yeah, I do. But anyway, it was part of his Buddhist teaching, and they were talking about actually dying is what they were talking about. But he was talking about telling his father, who was Mr. Science and not into Buddhism or anything, but he was saying, if you can, Dad, just try to go deep inside to that part of you that you know is you. And I just got this image of a flame or a pot or something deep inside that you can identify as yourself. And I just went, I like that. I like that. So anyway, yeah. I'm going to unmute. I'm going to mute, rather.
Want to contribute to what is the authentic self, that deep flame?
I was thinking that it's what feels really good to us when we participate in it, not necessarily what we've been told we need to do or what we think the neighbors want to see, but what feels peaceful within us when we're not resisting something.
Interesting, huh? Interesting. It's like when we do tap into our authentic self, there's actually a peace to it, right? There's not all this resistance. Why do you think being your authentic self is important for healing? Why would I ever talk about not holding you back?
Yeah.
Say more.
And expressing yourself as how you are and how you're feeling.
Because if you're not your authentic self, what's happening?
You're resisting things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're suffering cognitive dissonance because you're feeling you want to do something, but somebody's pressuring you to do something else. You might even be part of yourself. So you've got this struggle going on.
Yeah, you start having these conflicts too. When you're being unauthentic, you can create conflicts mental and conflicts physical. So Gabor Mate, if you guys remember, I probably mentioned him quite a few times. There's a video that's called When the Body Says No, and there's a book. He says, and I see it over and over, healing is the reconnection to our authentic selves. Healing is the reconnection to our authentic selves. Getting sick many times is when we live inauthentically. So this is one of my teachers. I've been studying this thing called human design. And what she says is there's a direct correlation between how much pain someone is experiencing in their lives. And it can be pain in relationships. It can be psychological pain. It can be physical pain, and the degree to which we're living unauthentically. Has anybody heard or read the book? There's also YouTube. Fortunately, we get to have videos when we don't like to read. The book or the TED Talk, Dying to Be Myself. And her name is Anita Morijani. And she had cancer. And she was in the hospital. She was stage 4, and she died in the hospital. And she, in this TED Talk, she talks about being aware of everybody in her family coming together, and, you know, her brother flying from Japan to come be with her, and, you know, and having this complete out-of-body experience. And in that experience of also realizing that the Anita down there that was dying was not herself, you know, that she was so trying to be something that she wasn't, you know, that in her own way, she was making her body sick. And in this out of body experience, you know, she realizes who she is, and, you know, and what life is about. And she gets a chance, and she comes back, right, to tell us about it. And so her book is titled Dying to Be Myself. And so it's important for us to reconnect with our authentic selves. And a question will be, well, how do I do that? Right? How do I? Okay, I've heard about it. I'm starting to question. It's like, think about what was happening. 2 pieces. What was happening right before you began to experience MS symptoms? And ask yourself, was I really being authentic at that moment? Or was I trying to be something? You know, I was trying to be the professional. I was trying to prove how good I am at this, or I was trying to not show that I was having a terrible time, or, you know, see if you can start connecting. Was I being authentic? Or was I living an inauthentic life? And you have to remember that by the time you have symptoms of an autoimmune disorder, you've had it for a while. So look even further back. So how do we start becoming that authentic self? And there's 2 areas that I propose to really begin to become our authentic self. One is to address where we stopped being our authentic selves, or where life and people conditioned us to be who we're not. You know, family is a great place to look, right? And one of the ways to begin to become our authentic selves is to heal those moments of the past, to notice those influences of people and places and things, and the beliefs we created by those things, like, I'm not allowed to be a musician. These elements are most important in life, and not what I enjoy. That's not important enough. And to heal those, to begin to come back to self. And the second place to begin to become your authentic self is to directly connect to it, to learn in as many ways as you can who your true self is. and to actually use that knowledge of who your true self to immediately, it's almost like it automatically heals a lot of the things of the past. And I wanted to give you guys an example, a personal example of doing that. So I have this way of being that is not okay in my family, which is I get totally enthusiastic about something. I mean, I just get, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I'm going to so do this. I mean, it's like the only thing I talk about. And then I get into that thing. And when I'm in it, I'm like, oh, darn it, this isn't it. Oh, no, this is not what I want to do. And I will quit. I am, in my family, I am the quitter. I am royal queen quit. And, you know, my boyfriend now, he's been with me a while, so he now understands it. You know, I get super excited and he's like, yeah, don't tell me about it until you've stepped in, because he knows I can get so excited and then I will just take a 360 and, you know, out of there. And I remember I tried one career, I totally got into it and nope, this isn't it, got out. I tried my second career, got completely into it, got approved, got into the university, started architecture. And I was like, this isn't it. Nope, this isn't it either. And my mother, she's always been the most kind person. But at that moment in my life, one of the most traumatic memories I have is my mother saying, no, you are sticking to this. I am tired of you quitting everything. You're not doing it. And I spent the next 18 years in a career that, yeah, I was actually good at, but it did not fill me. It did not fill my soul. But I wasn't allowed to be a quitter anymore. And so I can go and I can, you know, go and try to heal that and work through those things and maybe try to heal, why do I quit things? Or when I started learning human design, one of the things that I learned about myself is the person who was like reading my charts and stuff said, oh, you know what, you're the kind of person, you get really enthusiastic about things. She goes, and you're the kind of person that you have to take that spaghetti and throw it on the wall. And if it sticks, it sticks. If not, just get out of there. Don't insist. And when she told me that that's just who I am, there was like a whole load came off of me. It was like directly healing that whole trauma of I am a quitter was like, oh yeah, I'm a tester. You know, it's like, I don't know until I try it. And so it's another way to really tap into and even get to enjoy, oh, that's who I am. You know, and so once you get to know what are those traits that make you, then I'm the kind of person that needs a 30-day guarantee. It's like, I'm sorry, I need to go in and figure it out first, you know? And so once you start learning those things, it's a great way to just take off so many years of burdens and shame and guilt and pain. So how are we going to learn about your authentic self? One way, you know, I feel like this is like Palmer Kippela's things, you know, but while she was working on the physical, I'm working on the mental, right? And so I'm like testing everything, how to find that authentic self, how to get more into being fully embodied in this purity of self without all those external conditionings and conflicts that make me do things, be things, and ignore things that are actually true to myself. One are personality assessment tools. Tests, astrology. There's one called Strength Finder, the Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, you know, all the different things that just kind of help point you in the direction of, oh, that's not just a fluke, and that's not just my laziness. It's just that I am this or that, right? I'm not supposed to be a doer. I'm supposed to be a teacher. Well, that's very different. You make Gandhi try to, go up on the ladder in a corporate world, he would never have made it. He's supposed to sit there and impart wisdom. Well, what if he was told by his family that, hey, no, you're not supposed to sit and impart wisdom. Don't be a lazy ass, get out of that, get out of that chair. we wouldn't have had who we had, right? And so if you take these tests, sometimes you can get real good insights about who is your authentic self, who you're supposed to be, which is different from others. Another way to learn about your authentic self is to do practices that help you connect to that, as Jan said, that inner flame. And as Amy said, connect to that place of peace. If something is giving you peace, you're in the right direction. If something is like pushing and sacrificing and I don't get to deserve that, or shoulding, that's not coming from that inner guidance, because that inner guidance is very soft, very gentle. And it also brings you that, that wonderful peace, or that feeling, this like everything is going to be okayness. And we'll look at some of those ways to connect to your inner guidance. It can be journaling. It can be automatic writing. It can be channeling. It can be being in nature. It can be meditation. It can be self-hypnosis. It can be connecting to your spirit guides. It can be dreams. It could be talking to your higher self. It could be listening to, what is that like? One thing I've been doing lately is if I get I'm like, is this right for me? If I get a strong, like, ooh, a yes, and I know I have to do it. If I get a no, it's muscle testing. That's another way of connecting to your inner guidance. And the third is doing inner child work. Because guess who knows your authentic self more than you do today after all the conditioning? Guess who remembers who you are? Guess who was probably herself for the first few years until, people, places, and things, and teachers and whomever started telling her it's not okay to be you. So doing inner child work, connecting to the little, I have, my inner child is, her name is Evita, and I talk to her a lot of times, and I'm like, and if Evita is starting to pout, I'm like, all right, let's stop doing this. You're not happy. It's not who I am, so connecting to her, him, the inner child's going to give you really good guidance. And remembering, who was I as a kid? I was an inventor. When people would ask me, what are you going to be as an adult? I was telling them, I'm an inventor. And then when I do the personality assessments and stuff, it's like creativity is off the charts. I'm an investigator. I'm all about, it's like, you are very, very creative, and you're very curious, and you love investigating. And I'm like, yeah, see, I was an inventor. I knew it as a 5-year-old, So to start this month, to embrace your authentic self, take a moment to think about, and I would take a moment and I would take a notebook for the rest of this month, but really think about what makes you unique. And this is how you're going to think about it. Okay. It's not the normal stuff like, oh, I'm really good at work on the Excel sheet. No, this is more basic than that. Think about this. Most of us, and a lot of my clients will come in and say, and they think it's a bad thing, my whole family is this way and I'm just not, I never could do this, but I've tried, and they're all college things, but I just never had the energy for it. We are not designed to think, to operate, to act, to choose, or to have even the same values as our families, as our friends, or our partners. So think about precisely what was so different about you that no one else in your family had. Like, I was a quitter, it's like there was no, and my family is like, when you said yes to something, you had to finish it. And I was the odd one there. So take a moment to make a list of those things that makes you unique. And I wanted to give you an example, just some, so you kind of get into, probably you guys don't have the same things I do. I just want to tell you, we're supposed to be unique. Some you might. So these are some of the things I wrote, which made me unique and made my family like, I bump into things. No one in my family has this problem. I bump into things. It's like all of my, when I worked, everyone knew about it. I bump into chairs. I drop pens all the time. I'd be in a meeting and my pens would always go flying. I don't know. It's just who I am. I bump into things. The second thing, which makes me unique, or at least to those around me, is I'm a professional quitter. We talked about that one. I can get extremely enthusiastic about something, and once I'm in it, it's like tasting food, right? Oh, that cake looks good. I taste it and I'm like, not one more bite, and I will never mention that food again. That's one of my things. But at the same time, that also makes me unique is I'm really good at committing to something. Once I do step into something and I taste it and I like it,
Oh, I love it.
I can be at it for years. When I was an architect, I built airports. Airports can take up to a decade to build. And I would have my architect friends going, how could you be on the same project for so many years? And I'd be like, I love it. It's like every day I'm excited to go back to work because I learned more about it and more about, and you know, this group and the work I've been doing researching MS has been since 2013. And look, I have a whole year worth of stuff to teach, you know. I get enthusiastic. And when I'm in the right thing and I've tasted it and I like it, I could stick to it forever. That's another thing that makes me unique. People are like, oh, are you still doing MS? I'm like, yeah. You know, it's like a new client calls and I'm doing a dance in my office, you know, like I just struck gold because I'm so happy I get to work with someone else in MS and get to learn even more about it. So yeah. So, and then I guess the fourth one, just to make me even more unique, I hate exercising. I hate it. I hate it. It's like I was in a women's group, and one of our meetings, they decided to do it at the beach. It was 8 a.m. and we were supposed to all wear gym clothes. And we were all at the beach and we got to run and throw stupid stuff and do these things. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is the best way to start the day. No, I hated it. I was like, if they do this again, I'm not coming. I'm sorry. I can, you know, I will work on the garden. I will clean the house. I and exercise, we just do not get along. But I will read a book. I will research something. I will study about it for hours on end. But exercise is minimum, you know, walking from my car to my home or cleaning. If I have to, yeah, that's it. So think about those things. What makes you unique? And what I would invite you guys is just jot down 4 of them, like I've done. Just jot down some of those ones that really pop. Where are you not normal? I have so many clients say, I just want to be normal. Where are you not normal, even though you tried? And so start noticing those things. Write them down and have a notebook with you. And when you notice those things that people might go, huh? Those are some of those clues to what makes you unique. Also notice the things that are very easy for you to do or to think about, or things that you enjoy. Not necessarily about your job, but enjoy. Those are part of what makes you unique. The little things. It's like I enjoy anything that has to do with warm water. You know, I will wash dishes, I will iron. None of that seems to be a chore for me because I'm actually very tactile. And so anything that's soft or warm, I just really enjoy it. Someone else will be like, I hate ironing. Notice those things. Be curious about them. And in the next few months, we'll see how those things actually form part of your authentic self and give you clues about who you are.